The all-new Mercedes-AMG C43 is finally here, and the German performance brand's latest sports sedan continues the trend of downsized electrified powertrains. But even with a 4-cylinder under the bonnet instead of a V6, the new 43 still brings big power outputs to go with its all-new chassis, body and interior. We're at Bathurst and we're going to see if it's still worthy of its AMG badge. Now on sale in Aussie showrooms, commanding a $22,000 price premium over its predecessor, the new C43 now starts from $134,900 before on-road costs. Compared to the outgoing C43, this new sedan is more powerful but offers less torque from its mild hybrid 2-litre turbo engine, and it's packed on some kilos, weighing around 75 kilos more than the model it replaces. But Merc justifies the price hike by detailing the astonishing tech it's put into the C63's baby brother, from an F1-derived turbocharger that's said to all but eliminate turbo lag, to a lavish new cockpit and the addition of rear-wheel steering for the first time. With the previous C43's 3-litre twin-turbo petrol V6 now resting on the mantelpiece, this all-new C43 gets power from a more advanced version of the Turbo 4 that debuted in the A45 hot hatch. Maximum power has increased by 13 kilowatts to an even 300, and Merc says you'll get an extra 10 kilowatts under full throttle thanks to the new C43's mild hybrid system. That, combined with the extra weight, means similar levels of performance, at least on paper, where AMG claims that the new C43 will hit 100 kilometers an hour in 4.6 seconds. As before, the entry-level C-Class AMG sends its power to all four corners, this time via a new 9-speed wet-clutch automatic transmission. Based on the sleek 5th-generation C-Class sedan, this all-new 43 brings its own unique body kit, but unlike some markets where you can get a carbon fibre trim, we only have this gloss black option. And there's only one option for wheels, and that is these ones. They're 20 inches. But this cabin is arguably much more impressive than anything that Merc has done to the exterior of this car, and this cabin is light years ahead of the model it replaces. That's partly because it shares a lot of the same tech with the larger Uber-Luxe S-Class limo. Fit, finish and materials are as opulent as you would expect at this price point, and I really like the driving position. Everything feels really well placed and within reach. I think it's going to take some getting used to all of these steering wheel buttons though, because there's a lot going on. Sportier AMG seats are available as part of a $5,200 optional performance package. However, we think most will agree that the standard issue leather-clad pews are supple and supportive enough. If you've sat in a new C-Class recently, this layout will probably look pretty familiar, but the C43 gets some special bits like these fresh dash inlays, this AMG steering wheel and AMG-specific graphics on the instrument cluster. This tablet-style centre touchscreen makes a big statement and comes with Mercedes' latest MBUX infotainment, which includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a more intuitive voice assist feature. Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?
Future-proofing the new C43 against rivals is a 12.3-inch instrument cluster ahead of the driver, which brings super crisp graphics and loads of options for personalisation. The new C43 is underpinned by Merc's latest MR-A2 architecture, which it says will offer more cabin space. Well, we can tell you that while there isn't a great amount of headroom, particularly with that sunroof in place, it does feel pretty spacious back here, width-wise and, yeah, leg-wise. It's actually pretty comfy. AMG says the F1 technology that it's put into this new C43 makes it feel like it's got a bigger engine under the bonnet than it actually does, which will be a good thing for those that are worried about that new 4-cylinder hybrid engine. There's a newly developed turbocharger that now incorporates a tiny 6-kilowatt motor to keep the turbo spinning at low revs, which Merc says will all but eliminate turbo lag. From what we can tell, it's doing a pretty good job. Throttle response is good, and this thing has no problems getting power down, particularly when you use the race start function, which is Merc's version of launch control. It also makes this really quirky EV-like noise when you're loading it up. bad. Acceleration off the line isn't jaw-dropping, but the new C43 will deliver enough gusto to impress AMG purists. It also sounds great when you give it a bootful, with the sports exhaust producing some nice crackles and farts as it shifts. But that new wet clutch doesn't do much to add to the C43's appeal. In fact, it's clunky during low-speed manoeuvres, with awkward jerks when it moves from second to first gear. At speed, it feels much better, with smooth, responsive shifts when you're in manual mode. The new C43 feels really well tied down on road, with super crisp steering and impressive handling. It is firmly damped even in comfort mode, but while we've driven over some pretty rough roads on the way up here to Bathurst, it's performed pretty well. The cabin is susceptible to a fair bit of road noise. You can really hear those tyres on the move. That's thanks to its 20-inch rims and low-profile Michelin rubber, which held up well during our long country stints. Even though it's heavier than the model it replaces, you don't tend to feel the C43's weight on road, where that rear-wheel steering makes it feel all the more nimble in tight corners and changes of direction. We managed to achieve a fuel consumption figure of 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres after a cruisy highway drive back to Sydney, beating Merc's official claim for its first AMG-badged mild hybrid. If you're an AMG enthusiast, the arrival of the new C43 might have you feeling ambivalent. It's still a high-performance premium sports sedan, just not as you've ever known it, because really, when has AMG ever been keen on emphasising fuel efficiency? And while the new C43 certainly makes a good first impression, I can't help but feel like it's just ever so slightly underdone. Yes, it's still worthy of its AMG badge thanks to fantastic dynamics, a beautiful cabin and respectable power outputs. But we reckon if you're after something truly soul-stirring, the hotter C63 might be the one worth waiting for, as long as you can afford it.